We be live.
Hello.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome to the most global atheist show on the planet. Is that accurate to say? I think that's what
I think so.
Yeah, we're just the most global. And by global, I mean we have a very global audience from all around the world, and we have a very global set of news that we cover every week. Right, so the 10 news items that we cover every week on Atheist Republic with Susanna is very global. Like, Susanna, what countries are we covering today?
South Korea, Iran, Nigeria, India, and the United States.
That's South Korea, like religion and atheism related news. South Korea, that's like we don't get South Korea that often. So
No.
every time we get a country that we don't usually cover, like if you say India, like yes, Iran, we usually cover Iran. United States, we usually cover United States. Pakistan, these are expected, right? Or anything in the Middle East. But sometimes you say Ukraine and Hinduism. I'm like, what? Ukraine? What does Ukraine got to do with Hinduism? And then you're like, Japan. Like, wow, we have Japan today. And today we have South Korea. So people are like, wow, so how does South Korea get on religion news, right? So, and it's Islam in South Korea, which even makes it more bizarre. Because when you talk South Korea, you think like, okay, is it something conservatism? Is it LGBT? Is it Christianity? Is it Buddhism? No, it's Islam. So mind blown. What does Islam got to do with South Korea? What's happening there, right? So Japan was also Islam when we covered Japan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. So guys, just to prove that our audience is also very global, people have already started telling us that where they're watching from. So please, the rest of you also, like, look, we have from New Zealand, we have from Cyprus, we have hold on, okay. We have New Zealand, Malaysia, right? We have Belgium, right? So yeah, guys, tell us where you're watching from. If I see them, I will highlight them. But well, let's get into. Oh, also, guys, use the super chats. When you use the super chats, we have 10 news items, and your super chats will be automatically saved. And we won't read them while we're in the middle of talking about the news, but between each news segment, if we have super chats, we'll take a moment and we'll read the super chats, and then we'll go to the next news items. All right. Oh, look, Irish in Netherlands. This is, I'm assuming, is this Korean?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Hindu from Hindu restaurant. Okay, that's not okay. From hell. I think this is Utah. Somebody saying from hell, from Mormon hell. I'm assuming that you're from.
No, I know where Mustafa is. He's not in Utah.
Utah. Okay.
But maybe he's just saying that internally he's in hell, and the level of hell that he's in is specifically the Mormon hell.
Okay, so Krishan is saying, "Hey Armin, love from India. India is becoming a dictatorship country under Modi regime. Well, love back at you. I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't think it's fair to say it's a dictatorship. But yeah, I understand that it's getting more religious, less secular, less
autocratic.
less democratic.
It's getting pretty autocratic.
Yeah. Okay, but well, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, okay, so Aussie in Vietnam. I like how our audience is also like global, as in like they're not in the same place that they're born. Sorry, I know you want us to move on, but I just Helmate be here in Wyoming. Oh, Mark, I'm sorry. Why are you guys so upset? Is anybody happy where they are? Like,
not the Americans in the Midwest.
All right, I know Susie wants us to get started, so let's get started. So Susie, can we one more hello from Indonesia? Indonesia, that's great. Can we clap for the first news?
We're gonna clap for the first news because we are gonna dunk on some xenophobia. Okay, we're just gonna dunk on some xenophobia.
Yes, guys, when we're clapping, so because sometimes we don't clap because somebody died, somebody got molested, somebody was tortured, okay? And now some people are confused that every time we're clapping, that means we approve. No, that it does not mean we approve. We just think like if it's very tragic, it doesn't make sense for us to clap, okay? So we do not approve, but we're clapping because nobody died, okay? So first news,
shocking protest, pig heads sent to mosque site in South Korea. In a shocking act of protest, severed pig heads were displayed at a mosque construction site in Daegu, South Korea. The mosque, intended to serve the growing Muslim international student population at the Kyungpook National University, or KNU for short, has become the source of friction between local residents and the university's Muslim community. While the need for a larger worship space was acknowledged due to a burgeoning student population, resistance from locals resulted in a suspension order for the construction. Despite the Supreme Court overturning this decision, the controversy escalated. Islamophobic pamphlets were distributed through the area, and rallies targeting our religion, Islam, were held, said Muaz Razak, a Pakistani PhD student who also serves the KNU's serves as KNU's Muslim community's media representative, as he stated in a media conference last April. This situation underscores the challenges South Korea faces as it grapples with evolving multicultural realities amidst a demographic crisis and its pursuit of an immigration solution. So, let me get back up and give more context here. So, I don't know if people are aware of this, but South Koreans are going extinct. They have a birth replacement rate of 0.73, which is the lowest of any developing nation in the world. And so that means that the government desperately needs to bring in new people. And so what they've been doing is they are actually bringing in a lot of skilled immigrants, people who are, university educated, highly technical, but a lot of these people are coming from places like Pakistan, Nigeria, and Uzbekistan, apparently. And so there were a lot of Muslim students, not even that much, just like by my standards, not that much, but by their standards, a lot. Enough that they wanted to have a mosque. And they had a house that they were worshiping at. But eventually, the house didn't provide enough space for everyone to worship. So in this residential area that was close to the school, they decided to try to get a mosque built. And they got approval to build this mosque, and the community did not take kindly to this. And people representing the community say that this isn't about Islam. They would have had objections to any other building being built there. However, there are like signs that are posted outside the mosque site that say, basically the signs, YouTube, this is not my opinion. I'm repeating something that is happening in the news. There are signs that they put outside the mosque area or in the neighborhood that say, like basically all Muslims are terrorists. And that like, they're saying like, oh, we don't like the smell of the cooking odors and all this stuff. And then what the community did is they started holding barbecues, rallies, parties in the alleyway next to the mosque where they were serving pork. And then someone even went to the level of permanently installing a refrigerator that sits outside of a building. And inside this refrigerator is 3 severed pig heads that just sits there like in immediate proximity to the mosque outside of someone's residence, just like in kind of the alleyway where this area is. And there are people trying to say that this is not an anti-Muslim thing, which is just like, well, clearly it is. I don't know. Armin, what is your like reaction to this?
Well, obviously this is disgusting behavior, xenophobic, disgusting behavior that should be condemned. I mean, South Korea, the one way or another, your Muslim population is going to grow, right? So there's no way to, fight that. So you either make them welcomed in your country, and by that they will basically, as part of society, they will adjust and adopt your values, and it will be easier for them to maybe accept some of your culture because you are being friendly with them, because you're being accepting of them. or you are going to create what you are acting like they are, right? You are by treating them like this, you're gonna cause radicalization. You're going to isolate them, you're going to demonize them, you're going to separate them from the rest of society, you're going to make them feel like they're not welcome here. And that is exactly the fuel for radicalization. That so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you act like, when you act like every single one of these people is a danger or not welcome or radical, you're going to get more radicalization, and you're going to get more of people with culture and behavior that you disapprove of, right? So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's
Yeah.
just not a way to treat people, right? Like, especially South Korea, you're not in a position to be not accepting migrants and people from other countries. You're desperate, so you need migration. So maybe you should be more welcoming to people that are trying to make South Korea their home. This is disgusting behavior.
Yeah. The university size, the total student population is almost 30,000 people. This Muslim community fluctuates this particular little um center. It services only 80 to 150 people. And they're
But
saying that building a mosque there will like cause all this traffic in this area and the resident crowd and all this stuff. And yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm gonna take something back. I'm actually a hypocrite. I'm being a hypocrite.
Hmm.
I said something that was really wrong, bad. Okay. I was talking about how some people are treating Muslims like as if they're a monolith, treating them all like they're the same. But if you pay attention to what I was saying, I said South Korea. Okay. I should not be acting like this. South Koreans all approve of this position. These are just the action of a few South Koreans. This does not reflect everybody in South Korea. I generalize an action of a few people as if this is a position of South Korea. That was a mistake. That was wrong. That was a fallacy. That was a logical fallacy. Like, so I was condemning some South Koreans, and I did the exact same thing that I was condemning. So I'm glad that I
Well,
just
you
caught
caught
myself.
yourself very quickly, so
Yeah, that was
good
bad.
job.
That was not good.
No, but
Right.
good job for catching yourself so fast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
So-
know. Like Mustafa's bringing up a good point. He's saying it's a mosque for international students. That means they're not going to stay permanently. Their xenophobia makes no sense by its own rules. Well, I think the intention is for a lot of them to actually settle in South Korea. Or ideally, like they need it really badly. Let me read one of the signs that was posted in the neighborhood. It says conscience over money, conscience before the law, conscience over religious facilities. And then it says, come on, what kind of conscience would build a religious facility in a place like this? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this just looks like a normal neighborhood to me. I don't know.
Right.
And then they're saying, oh, so one of the locals who was representing the local neighborhood and why they're acting this way. She was like, media reports say that the residents are opposing Islam as a religion, but we don't really know about Islam. We are not interested. But someone knows enough to install a permanent fridge, like in the immediate proximity of the mosque where they put severed pig heads. Like, what kind of a message is that supposed to send? Like,
Yeah.
damn near going full Godfather, or like, decapitated head horse. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's wild to me.
You know what this reminds me, just so also to mention that how I think South Korea overall is moving in the right direction when it comes to being accepting. And I don't know if this is not a good way to come up with conclusions, but I was under the impression that it seemed like it's going in the right direction based on the small information that I had, which is, again, might not be accurate, which is Squid Games. Have you watched Squid Game?
I actually
Is
haven't.
that? Yeah. Wow. How could you?
I know.
Um,
Me
can
in
I
what time?
spoil? Yeah. No, but spoiler alert: there is a Pakistani person in the TV series, right? Ali there, who is Pakistani, who's Muslim, and has a hijabi wife there. And there are people within the show that are mean to him as an immigrant, like, like talking to him as if he's lower, being being xenophobic, basically being xenophobic to Ali, right, in the show. And the show portrays Ali as a good person, and him and his wife, his hijabi wife, as a good person, as somebody that has some principles, is moral, and shows the people in the show who are being xenophobic to him as bad people, right? And I felt like this is addressing. First of all, it showed to me that in South Korea is dealing with xenophobia against like Muslim immigrants. Like, it must be there for this show to be highlighting it like that. And it shows that this show is such a popular show is condemning that. So I know there's a pushback again. So basically, based on the very limited information, I could see the struggle that exists within South Korea, that there are xenophobic people, and also the more progressive part of South Korea that sees that as disgusting and is pushing against that. And for that to be in the show, and this show being that popular, to me, that suggests that, like that side is winning. Again, this is not a very good way of coming up with a conclusion, but again, that's the most popular show, South Korean show ever, right? So again, as me and I think Susanna, we are against hijab and stuff like that. But again, that doesn't mean that I as much as I'm against hijab and what it stands for, I do like to see more representation on media like that, just so that it becomes normalized. Because we are against what certain ideas are about and stand for. But again, we don't want people to use it as an excuse to demonize and ostracize people. So as long as they exist, like, so it's good for us to move into in a direction of a world where modesty culture is not a thing. So therefore, hijab is not a thing. But while hijabi people are part of reality, part of our society, we do want people seeing them to be normalized enough for them not to be demonized, right?
Oh my
so
God,
these are not
certainly.
Yeah, so these are not contradictory things. I want to see more hijabis in media. So the fact, especially in countries where they're minority, so their existence is normalized. And at the same time, I'm against hijab because hijab is modesty culture. These are not contradictory positions.
As long as the hijab isn't being promoted.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I want to see more hijabis in media because I want them to be normalized, but I don't want the concept of hijab to be promoted because that's modesty culture, and I'm against modesty culture.
Mm-hmm. And this is interesting. In a country of roughly 52 million people, there are only between 150 to 200,000 Muslims in South Korea. Only about 35,000 of them are actually ethnically Korean.
Wow.
But we do have
ethnically
Korean Muslims out here. It just like this whole attitude, Armin, can I be honest? When I was researching this news, this pissed me off so much that I literally started to look up if there were masjids in my area having events. Because I'm like, screw this whole attitude. Screw this whole attitude. I hate it so much. Like, yes, I have disagreements on like beliefs, or maybe there's some values that we don't necessarily share, but like we're all just people. Like, and I would hate to think that there are people in my community that maybe feel ostracized like that. So what I should show up and just like be a normal person and just show up and like be like, hey guys, let's be friends. Like, I live with a Muslim right now. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's this mentality is so outside of how I live my life that it's hard for me to comprehend.
Right.
I don't understand it. Go ahead.
Can I share with you an experience? I've already told you, but I think I need to say it one more time here, okay? Yeah. So in Vancouver, this story broke my heart. In Vancouver, I saw an ad for an open mosque day where we were invited, people were invited to go learn about Islam, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think like you shouldn't talk to Muslims just randomly about Islam unless you're openly invited to, right? So I was like, oh, this is great. They are inviting people to go talk about Islam, right? So I went. It was a mosque in downtown Vancouver, and I just went there just to talk to Muslims and see what they have to say about Islam. And I was there, and they had food, and people were talking about to a whole bunch of non-Muslims about Islam, and they were friendly and stuff, until some people recognized me, and they know my anti-Islamic stance and activism. And there was a point where I don't know if there was a head of the mosque or the main manager there or whatever, but he was an elderly guy. He said, like, he took me to a corner. He said that he wanted to talk to me. Do you know the story? Have I told you the story?
No.
No? Oh, okay. So he took me to a corner, and he said this to me. He said, like, I just want to tell you that the people here that come to this mosque are good people. They don't deserve to be shot. They don't deserve to be killed. Like, not all Muslims are bad people. Like, the guy was genuinely scared. He thought, like, he was like, and I was like, of course. And he like, I just want you to know that these people are good people with families that, they care for them, that depend on them. And
Oh
if
my
they
God,
die,
I want to cry.
and I was like, this person thinks like I'm a threat to them. And I was like switching between anger and sorry. Okay, because I didn't say that I was angry, because I was angry because he thought I was just because I have an anti-Islamic stance, he thinks that I am a person that could potentially do something like that. I was shocked, but at the same time, I didn't say that I was angry because I was feeling so sad for the
That's
guy
heartbreaking.
that he lives in such stress. Like, this guy has heard like other mosques being shot, and he is terrified about the idea that this could happen to them. Like, he comes to the mosque looking at all these people that he loves, and he thinks that with the fear that one day this could happen to them. So I didn't express any of my anger, because I was more concerned about this poor man
His
that has
emotional
to deal with
well-being.
it.
God damn.
Yeah, that he has to deal with this level of stress every time he comes to his mosque. But I was also offended for him to think that I could potentially do something like that.
Still,
Yeah.
man, that's, oh my God, that's rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like that's the exact kind of attitudes that we want to fight, right? Like, I don't want people in my community to live with that. That's heartbreaking.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All
Suha's
right.
saying, holy shit, did he really say that? Poor thing. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, what is Darko upset about? What are you done reading about?
I think there's
Okay,
just some nonsense going on in the live chat.
guys, be nice to each other, please. Don't fight with each other. We don't want to deal with the drama in the live chat as well. Anyways, GJ just gave us a super chat. Thank you so much, GJ. GJ is saying, Armin, don't be so hard on yourself and your so-called hypocrisy. How many hours a week are you streaming and what is this? Slaving and grinding for Atheist Republic good cause. Well, I mean, it's good to be hard on yourself when it comes to making mistakes. And I wasn't too hard. I was like, oh, I made a mistake, and I was actually proud of myself for catching it. So I'm not that hard on myself. So yeah, but thank you for the messages of support. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right.
I'm gonna put Tigran in timeout because they're just like so negative. Okay.
Okay, Tigran. Okay, good.
Okay, so here's what I did this week. We have a few like bad/sad stories, and I decided we're just gonna do them in a chunk, get them out of the way, and then we don't have to go through the roller coaster, okay? So our next 3 stories are gonna be a little bit heavier, okay? But then we don't have to, you don't have to be blindsided by it again, okay?
Okay, we're going through 3 bad stories, and then we're going to come through the other end of it, and the rest of that is not going to be this bad. Okay, I think this is a good strategy that you have 3. Yeah, okay, good.
Are so bear with us, please. Noise?
Less.
Okay.
Less than before. Yeah. All right. So no clapping, I'm assuming. Oh, no.
Yes, no.
This is so bad. Okay. All right. Next news.
Next news. Widow sacrifice ritual. Indian woman's suicide sparks debate over tradition. Should I use that word or should I use self-deletion?
Use the word.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. You just use it.
Okay. The tragic suicide of Sangeeta Lahra, a 28-year-old female engineer from Gujarat, India, has sparked a national debate about the outlawed and controversial Hindu tradition of sati. Sangeeta reportedly drowned herself in the Sabarmati River after facing alleged domestic violence and pressure from her in laws to perform sati, a ritual that involves a widow immolating herself on her husband's funeral pyre. Her purported suicide note tells a tale of relentless harassment, pushing her to prove her quote unquote good character via this dangerous and banned ritual. Despite the ban imposed on the sati practice by the British Governor General Lord William Bentinck in 1829, was further reinforced by the Indian government's Commission on Sati Prevention Act of 1987, cases have been sporadically reported well into the 21st century. This heart-rending incident underscores the urgency for more effective enforcement of laws and societal change to protect women's rights in India. So this is just obviously very upsetting because, I mean, sati is like a horrific practice, right? And there are still people that face pressure to self-immolate or to just self-delete when their husbands die, even to this day. I find that shocking.
Is that her picture? Is that her?
Yeah.
Okay, that's sad. Look at look at that smile. Look how full of hope she seems. How could you drive somebody? Oh my god. How did she do it? She jumped in there. How did she? You said she drowned herself?
Yeah, she drowned herself.
Oh my god. So I don't know what to say. It's disgusting. Yeah, and you said she was pressured into doing it?
Yeah. So, her husband apparently died, I think, last year or fairly recently in an accident. She's only like 28 years old, right? And then ever since then, her in-laws were harassing her and actually abusing her to do this.
Why?
According to what I have read, and according to some of the materials left behind or reports and messages she left her family, it was to prove her good character.
Oh my god, that's so I want to vomit. This is so disgusting. I just think like this is like a horror.
Literally.
Like imagine two couples living and everything is fine, and then the whole turns to shit. God damn this! Sometimes I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say. Just read some of the comments.
I mean, yeah, it's barbaric. And Cosmic Heathen saying, yeah, and Hindufa say sati was introduced by the British.
Oh, bull crap. This is pure Hinduism. This is absolutely Hinduism. Absolutely Hinduism. And somebody saying they blame it on the Muslims. Hindutva Morons blame it sati on the Mughals. No, this is not Islam. This is not the British. This is Hinduism. Absolutely. It's within their scripture from ancient times.
Mm-hmm.
They're in their most ancient scripture as well. Completely Hindu. Pure Hinduism.
Darko's asking, what is the rationale behind this tradition? Why would the in-laws want her to die? That's a good question. And I'm not going to pretend to know the sociological origins of sati because I don't know that. So I'm not going to pretend like I do to tell you guys that. But I was thinking about this yesterday and I was thinking this is pure speculation from what's the word I'm looking for? Not sociological. But basically I was thinking in an old school society, this is a disgusting way to say it, but there might be a social utility to a widow no longer being a burden in the family and a mouth that has to be fed especially if she's been widowed and she can't marry again and can't produce more children. Like, there might be a social utility to like getting rid of that because you think it's useless, blah, blah, blah. Now, of course, that's horrific. And that doesn't mean that any of this is okay, right? I'm just trying to think about like from a macro social point of view, like how in Japan, there used to be a tradition where if you have like an elderly family member that's like way too old, like you will go leave them on a mountain to die because that person is a burden on your family. Like, is it that same kind of mentality? But then just over time, it became a tradition in scripture. That's pure speculation on my part. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm completely wrong. But that was kind of mentally the only way I can even make sense of how this started back in the day, you know, hundreds of years ago. And it's just so upsetting, like to be driven to this level because of just relentless harassment. Because, you know, of course, she was going to go live with her in-laws after she married her husband, because that's, you know, common in tradition. And then her husband died. She was still living with them. They relentlessly harassed her to the point that she had to go back to live with her own parents. And then eventually, this is, I don't know, what she was driven to.
We're getting a lot of good information in the live chat as well, which I have been highlighting from people from India.
Mm-hmm.
So I have highlighted those.
Let me
read
one. Abhi is saying, it is more of a matter of honor. A widow who dies for her husband is evident of her love originally. No one forced it. Some did it as a self-sacrifice and it became a cultish mentality. Well, that's one theory.
Yeah. Rebecca is saying, I miss your streams where you read the Hindu Vedas. And other scripture, not just the Vedas. I would like to go back to doing that. However, my hands are full. So I'm going to use this opportunity by posting a link to our volunteer form so people could come if they wanted to join our Atheist Republic team. This way, I would be able to go back to reading the Vedas because some of the things that we're doing would be lift off our shoulders. So if you want to work with either me or Susanna, some of the tasks that you could join the volunteer will require, like the video editing task. If you pick that one, you would be working with me. If it comes to bookkeeping or grant writing, that would be the tasks that you would be working with Susanna. But there's a whole list of things that you could pick from there and join our volunteer team.
Also, website development.
Website development, if you know Drupal. So yeah, you could join our team that way. And if enough things are moved out of my to-do list, then I will go back to making videos. In fact, you could join as a video editor. You could join me in helping me create videos about Hindu scripture. So yeah.
Ooh.
Brother likes to say, Rebecca said, I can join your Bible reading team. Yeah, you can.
If we had a Bible club, Rebecca, I don't know how much you would like it.
You would not like it. No, she likes it. She's like, Rebecca is tough.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. By the way, guys, the link to our volunteer form is under all our videos from now on, so you will be able to find them. Let me see if I hope it's under this video. Let me check. Yes, it's the first link. It's at the very top. So it's under all our videos, so you could always find them there. Great. Okay, so next bad news.
Damn. I just want to highlight this comment. Lucifer is saying, Lucifer Christ, excuse me. Let me say his full name. I find it shocking that Hinduism can be violent. Most news only cover violence from Islam and Christianity. Thanks, Atheist Republic, for bringing this to light. That's exactly what we're here for. This is exactly why we have this show. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. By the way, the Hindu scripture is the most violent scripture, right? However, in practice, they don't follow it as much. But if you were looking from a scriptural point of view, the Hindu scripture is the most violent one. Like, it excuses mass genocide, right? But anyways, that's our
it's wild.
Right. Yeah, right.
Some wild boys.
Right. Okay, I'm going to put myself down, but I will be back once you finish reading the news. Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. So let me just say, next news.
Next news. Iran executes 3 protesters for enmity against God. In Iran, 3 protesters accused of killing members of Iran's security forces during the recent anti government uprisings were executed on May 19th, leading to widespread protests and international condemnation. Majid Kazemi, Saleh Mir-Hashemi, and Sayed Yaqubi were executed after being charged with enmity against God for their alleged involvement in the deaths of 2 Basiji paramilitary members and a law enforcement officer. However, the Iranian government failed to provide conclusive evidence linking them to the incident. Concerned about their safety, family members gathered outside the Dastgird prison in Isfahan, while crowds gathered in support outside the facility. The executions were criticized by human rights organizations, and demonstrations took place in Berlin, London, and Stockholm. Amnesty International claimed that confessions showed by Iranian state media were extracted under torture. The executions brought attention to Iran's increasing use of the death penalty, with over 220 executions reported in 2023 alone, and more than 582 death sentences handed down in 2022. The European Union strongly condemned the execution and called on Iran to halt the practice of imposing the death sentence for protesters.
So these were the court proceedings. The way that they carried this out was insane. It was so insane that even some of the pro-regime people were like, "We have no idea what these people. What like? Where is the evidence? Like, where they had." They didn't even had access to the lawyers that the government picked for them. So
Seriously? Oh my
everything,
God.
yeah, everything about this, how this was done, violates the Islamic Republic's own rules, right? So they had, according to the Islamic Republic, they have to be able to choose their own lawyers. They weren't, and they weren't even able to. And the evidence was not shared with us, with the public. Like nothing. Like it was complete. Everything was done in darkness. These people were killed, and the narrative of what they have done kept on changing, and different officials were giving contradictory statement. It was insane. It was insane. And then they had audio leaked out of the prison that they said that everything we said was taken from us under torture, right? And also the crime is like enmity against God, but the action that they did were accused of is like killing 3 government
Basijis.
officials during during the protest. Which, by the way, a lot of people think like if they have done this, they're actually heroes because they were fighting the oppressors of the people during the revolution. But we don't
They
even
were
know if they've done
protecting
this.
their community from being annihilated by state violence on its own civilians. Let's be
Exactly.
clear.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we don't. So they're either innocent or heroes, right? So I don't know which one. But given that they were tortured, we don't know which one of these they are. Either way, they were not guilty. And it's just it's they're making such a joke off of their entire legal system. They're making, like, they're questioning their own rules, their own procedures that they're supposed to have based on their constitution of the Islamic Republic. They're even turning that into a joke. Like the entire, like all the lawyers within Iran is like, why do we even have the system? Like, you guys are completely ignoring all the procedures that we're supposed to have in order to condemn somebody. By the way, I want to share something about these a note I posted
Oh,
on my
Armin, I
Twitter
think we
account.
embedded that in the article.
Oh, we
If you
did?
scroll down.
Oh, this is the father. This is the father saying, "My son is innocent. He didn't have a gun," and the name of his son. So, but now his son is executed. So, oh yeah, this is my tweet. Let me see if I could read the full thing. Oh yeah. So this is, you can see from the stamp on this note that they took a book from the library of the prison and they ripped it, and they wrote something on that, and they snuck it out, right? So these are the 3 people, and so you can see the name of the 3 at the bottom, right? So this is my caption for the note. This is before they were executed, right? This is I titled it, "Don't Let Them Kill Us." I said, this is a letter smuggled out of prison, written by three prisoners in Iran. They were all executed shortly after. The letter reads, hello, we ask, so actually it says, yeah, hello, we ask our dear fellow citizens not to let them kill us. We need your help. We need your support. So they were begging other Iranian citizens to just like, please help us. Don't like the reason why they're saying our fellow citizens is to try to appeal to the fact that we are fellow Iranians. Like, don't let them kill your fellow citizen. Like, don't let them kill us, right? And so their names were Saeed Yaghubi, Saleh Mirhashemi, and Majid Kazemi. And they were convicted of murdering members of the Islamic Republic's armed forces, a conviction that Amnesty International said had been based on confessions extracted by torture. So yeah, this didn't work, and the number of executions are increasing in Iran, which is odd because the regime is under a lot of international and internal pressure for its crackdown on people, and instead of backing down, they're increasing it. So, and the theory is that a lot of people think maybe the regime is weak, and they want to show that their claws are still sharp. So to use fear as a way to get people to stay quiet.
Well, we
But
know that things are not good behind the scenes in the deep state. They're getting real shaky.
Yeah.
I also wanted to cover this news because in reaction to these 3 executions, we saw one of the larger bursts of public demonstrations that we've seen in the past couple of months. Did you have any like takeaways or opinions on that? Like to see actually more people out in the street again and more activity than we'd seen in a while?
Yeah, but people like the regime is trying to show that these protests are not leading to anything, right? And if we're going to keep doing what we're doing, right? And some people are believing it, and also a lot of people are becoming hopeless because of external pressure, especially because the United Nations, had a conference where they put the Iranian guy, the head of the human rights meeting, right? So it came out the news that after all these killings and all these executions and all this oppression, the United Nations still puts Iran as the head of the Human Rights Council for a meeting, right? And people were like, "You got like that," and I think the Islamic Republic did that secretly as a way to use a loophole to make sure to get that position, to signal to the Iranian people that the foreigners, they're not going to do anything for you, so stop trying to reach out to them for help. Like, look, like they're even putting us at the head of the Human Rights Council, right? So there's a lot of hopelessness right now spreading, but a lot of people are trying to not give up hope. I think that every time I feel like there's a desperation and hopelessness spreading, I show the evidence that within the regime there are a lot of disunity and infighting going on, and the chances of the government, the major change is coming from inside the religious authority itself. So the people have the pressure that comes from outside has started some divisions within the regime itself, and that is the best hope the best hope is not necessarily coming from other countries, and it might not be even coming from the opposition, but it might be coming from the regime itself and how much they're fighting with each other. Because, as you mentioned, a lot of people came out to protest against these, executions. But recently, one of these protests, they were fighting within the opposition. Like in London, one of these protests turned into infighting between the opposition itself, like Iranians outside, and that was like
It's getting a little messy.
Yeah, somebody was. I'm not going to even say what happened because I don't want to add to the hopelessness. But a lot of people see that and think like, okay, we don't have a strong opposition. The opposition is constantly fighting with itself instead of fighting the Islamic Republic, right? So yeah, I know. If you guys want more detail, let me know. But I could like, maybe I could talk about it more in secular jihadists. But yeah, so this is the state of things. Yeah.
And I'm going to block Kiragan because he's just like promoting straight cruelty, and I'm not going to even dignify that with and put my energy into that today. I'm not even going to dignify that bullshit today. So you get a block.
Good.
Okay, this is our last bummer of a news story. Okay, but actually we could put a positive spin on it, because we could say this is actually a good thing because we're shedding light. Light is the best disinfectant, as people say. And we are shedding light on how rotten the oldest institution in the West really is. Rotten to the core. Okay? So we're going to we're going to get into it.
Okay. So we're clapping or not clapping then?
Let's not clap just because it could sound bad.
Okay, fine. Next news.
Investigation reveals 450 plus clergy abusers in the Illinois Catholic Church. An investigation led by the Illinois Attorney General's office has revealed a shocking prevalence of sexual abuse within the Catholic Church, accusing 451 clergymen of sexually abusing nearly 2,000 children over the span of 69 years. These numbers significantly exceed the initial 103 victims reported by the Catholic Church when the investigation was initiated in 2018. From 103 to almost 2,000. Okay, let's continue. The report suggests that
all in one state.
Yes, one state over 70 years. The report suggests that the Illinois church leaders were slow to respond to the abuse, often avoiding confrontations with accused clergy and failing to warn parishioners about potential abusers. Attorney General Kwame Raoul credits those who brought accusations against the church, stating, quote, "It is my hope that this report will shine light both on those who violated their positions of power and trust to abuse innocent children and on the men in church leadership who covered up that abuse." As a result of the report, the Catholic Diocese in Illinois have pledged to review their policies and make the necessary changes, yada, yada, yada. This groundbreaking investigation echoes similar findings across various states and opens the conversations about the scale of abuse within the Catholic Church. Now, I wanted to cover this because the Catholic Church is actually pretty significant in the state of Illinois. I believe somewhere between 24 to 27% of all people living in Illinois are Catholic. So it's a pretty significant population, meaning this is a pretty significant institution, and then scale of the problem accordingly. Honestly, like, it's not even surprising, obviously, because we've been hearing about this across the United States, like, for so long. For the past 20 years, it's just been like in all these powerful dioceses, like, just these revelations continuing to come to light repeatedly over and over and over and over again, to the point that it's a normal joke in my country that Catholic priests are PDF files. Like, it's a sensitive joke that people make. People go, "Oh," but like, it's a normal joke. Like, this is completely understood, right? And when I wanted to cover this because this is a really large and significant investigation that came out recently. And there was a association for survivors of this kind of abuse that came forward, and they said that even the numbers by this state report is lower than what they think the reality is. But even beyond, like, so I mean, there's a lot that could be said, but there's a lot that we have already said. And when I was reading this story and doing my research, I was sitting there, Armin, and I was just like, kind of losing my mind. But then I'm like, am I losing my mind? Because when I was reading this, my immediate and honest reaction is just like, shut the whole thing down. Shut the whole thing down. How can this happen in like damn near every diocese, every state, every major city across America, let alone the world? There's a huge, we haven't even talked about this yet. There's a series of scandals and things being exposed in Bolivia right now that are like shaking the country. So this is across the world. And I'm like, when you look at something like this that is so pervasive across an institution, across the world, in every city, my immediate reaction is just like, shut it all down. Shut the whole thing down. Is there any other institution in the world that has, see, I'm legitimately asking because maybe I don't know. Is there another institution in the world that has this problem, that's this systematic, that's this notorious, this well known at this point, that is still, one, is there any other institution that fits that criteria? Two, if there is it allowed to continue? Is it allowed to keep going? Is it allowed to have, in my country, tax exempt status? And so I was like, my brain just broke. And I was like, shut the whole thing down. But then I'm like, because especially coming from the family that I come from, coming from the community that I come from, my place of origin, they'd be like, Susanna, that's really like too much. Like, you're really having too big of a reaction. Like, we need to be more nuanced about this. You can't just shut this down. This is a way of life for a lot of people. I would get a lot of pushback for having that opinion. But then I'm like, that makes me second guess myself. Like, did my brain break? Like, am I actually thinking about this uncritically? But then I'm like, then I triple guess myself. I'm like, am I gaslighting myself? Because would this be tolerated in any other context?
That's exactly what I was gonna say, but you said it first. I was gonna say, like, I cannot understand the fact that we have such a global organization that it seems like the main purpose of it is to use Jesus as a way to raise money for the legal support of people who abuse children. That seems like this is what this is organization about. Jesus is secondary. Protecting abusers is the main mission of this institution. I mean,
yeah, well, I don't go that far.
No, I know. That's why I say it seemed like it. But the thing is that how is this tolerated? Like, the fact that the world hasn't come together to just shut this thing down by now I think it's not just the Catholic Church that has failed. It's the world that has failed. The world has failed. Why has the world tolerated this so far? Like, if I was in charge of anything, like, I would be like, let's just like invade the Vatican and shut the whole thing down. Like, what the hell? What is this? Like, why is the world just sitting by? I'm just like, yeah, this is like, yeah, I guess they do this. I mean, yeah, like, nowhere else this would be tolerated. I mean, the fact that they have their own country, that makes it harder, right? Because the Taliban, we tolerate the Taliban, right? So I guess we tolerate them as well.
Oh, jeez. Like, yeah, Mustafa, I mean, this is a good point, Mustafa. This is the level that we're at. He's saying, I won't lie, as an atheist in America, I internally write this stuff off if it's associated. He writes it off more if it's associated with the Catholic Church. Just like, oh, of course.
Yeah,
like, it's like blasé at this point.
It's normalized. Yeah, like, it's just an institution that part of what they do is abuse children.
It's so normal that there are stories coming out about this all the time, and I don't even cover most of them because it's just like, oh, another priest horrifically doing something to a child again. Oh, another story. Well, that's not enough variety for us to cover. That's shocking.
It's just become the known, acceptable part of like the human experience. Like, yeah, we have this institution That not only we don't shut down, they're tax exempt, taxpayer, and they do this, and they just are, and we have accepted them as a norm, as part of a society.
Yeah, D is saying, and people still donate. Yeah, people still donate so that tons of this money can go to their legal fees. And then when an archdiocese gets in too much trouble, the archdiocese just declares bankruptcy so that they don't have to pay out anyone and they don't have to deal with like most of the fallout from the real consequences. Where the fuck is the accountability? Like, it's mind-boggling. And this is a question I have for our audience, because I was really trying to think of something. I'm like, what would be the closest equivalent to an institution in either America or the world where we can allow it to still function with this kind of a reputation? Because I'm having a hard time thinking of an example. Maybe it wouldn't be quite the same level, but what is the closest equivalent? Like, let me know what you guys think. Because for me, making this judgment about how my brain is just like, I can't think of any other solution besides just shut this whole thing down. But for me to be able to better unpack that reaction I'm having, it would be to help make a comparison to like what's closest and how we would treat something else. But I can't think of another close comparison. So let me know what you guys think.
Also, if you are a person who donates to the Catholic Church, or even just goes to a Catholic church, you are part of the problem. You are an individual who is supporting an institution that is one of its main purposes is to support and protect people who abuse children. You are disgusting. You should be ashamed. In fact, anybody who calls themselves a Catholic, this is the institution you're supporting. You are part of the problem. You are responsible for children being abused because you're supporting the people who protect child abusers.
Mm-hmm.
If you call yourself a Catholic, you are supporter of child abuse. I'm not exaggerating. That's what you are.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't go that far, but that's okay.
I go that far. There's like, debate me on this. If you are a Catholic, you are a supporter of child abuse.
Mustafa is saying the Mormon Church, maybe the Jehovah's Witnesses. Their institutions aren't as large because they're still, one of these newer Christian religions. Although I grew up as a Catholic, so we didn't consider them real Christians. But
Oxymoron is saying you cannot ban an institution, though. You can hold it accountable, though. No, you can. You can ban institutions. Yeah, institutions have been banned. Yeah,
we can dissolve.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
any corporation under American law, you can dissolve that corporation.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can do that within.
Yeah.
I'm assuming any other institution that had this record would have been banned by now.
Yeah, and other people are like, yeah, I can't think of any other institution or organization. Yeah, and people are like, oh, Epstein, blah blah blah. He wasn't operating for 2,000 years, or like a investigation by the state, exposing this over the previous 7 decades. That's just one dude. That's not an institution.
And he's not an institution.
He doesn't have tax exempt status.
Yes.
He doesn't have it. So he can't say that he's an international country on one side and then he's actually a religion on the other side.
Also, it wasn't like he was an individual. Okay. He didn't have tax exempt status. And also, it wasn't like people knew about it and they let him continue doing it. Like, they let him be the way he, if people, once he was discovered, then he was captured. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we know he does it and he still gets away with it. But the Catholic Church does get away with it. We got a super chat. Thank you so much from GJ. GJ saying, well, how is it still normal for over 71% of U.S. baby boys to all get circumcised, including Christians? I don't know.
GJ, don't put words in our mouth because it's not normal.
It should. No, it is
Who
normal.
The hell
it is normal.
That it was normal?
No, it is normal. It shouldn't be normal. No, it is normal. It is normal. But yeah. No, it's disgusting. That's a separate, but that's another thing religion has managed to normalize as if this is just acceptable. Oh, just cut off baby parts, and like, oh yeah, it's completely accepted. It's disgusting. It's bizarre. This is a human rights crisis that needs to be addressed, but people don't treat it like that.
Hindu historian, hello friend. He's giving you some pushback, Armin, about your statements about Catholics. He's saying if someone was born a Catholic and taught Catholicism from the cradle, that's me. Are they really to blame for being a member of the Catholic Church?
Yeah, because they could leave. They could leave. I mean, would you say that about somebody who was born within an ISIS family and now they're an ISIS fighter? We just like, oh, they were born into it. Can they be blamed for it?
Okay, well, that's actually, I don't think that's a good
sold.
example, because the ISIS example is so extreme that there could be very severe consequences to your safety and your life if you try to leave. So that's not a good example, because there's very good reasons why maybe someone would stay.
No. You could leave ISIS. I'm not saying leaving Islam. I'm saying leaving ISIS. You could leave ISIS.
Okay? I mean, I've read the stories of some of the kids that were taken there and what they had to go through to try to leave. It's no small feat. If someone decided to stay, I get it.
Okay, there are a lot of people that I know that within Afghanistan and other places that they were at least sympathizers, and they're just not sympathizers anymore. Okay, they're not going to come hunt everyone.
Okay, yes, I'm talking about like if you're in freaking.
Can I make a point though? Can I please make a point?
Yes.
What you're thinking, I'm saying is that is the only factor. Obviously, environment is a factor. Obviously, the conditions that you're born in is a factor, right? But if that's your line of reasoning, then nobody could be blamed for anything. Because anybody, if you go find anybody that has committed the worst crimes, I could point to you about the conditions that they were born in, the environment that they were in, and you will have an explanation for why they became criminals, for why they became abusers, for why they became rapists, or like whatever they did, right? But I mean, this goes into the line of like, are you a determinist? Because basically we are all a product of our environment. And if that line of reasoning, then we can't hold anybody responsible for anything, if that's how you want to rationalize things, right? But yeah, I did give an extreme example to just make that point, right? Like you could, I don't know, like Adolf H. Like I could go and explain the conditions that he was born in, the things that he was exposed to, and the experiences, and be given that environment, I could be like, well, I can see now why he has those conclusions. But explanation and justifications are two separate things. We got a super chat from Mustafa. Mustafa is saying, well, yeah, guys, Mustafa is saying Atheist Republic should invade the Vatican and claim it. By the way, YouTube, this is a joke. We're joking. But in line with this joke, if you guys, I've heard, Susanna, that armies are expensive. All right?
They are.
And they are. So if you guys want us to get to a point where Atheist Republic could raise an army, you should consider donating to us. Link to our PayPal is in the description.
You can join the army.
No, don't join
making a donation.
No. We don't want mercenary. Yeah, well, actually, that would. Yeah, never mind. No. Just donate, and we will eventually have enough to raise an army. So I don't know what to say.
Or join the Armin agitators.
Oh, Hindu historian was convinced with my points. Fair point. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I don't know. For me, like I know so many people that come from like a Catholic culture, and it's just kind of like how their families come together, and it's more of a cultural practice than a religious belief. So
yes,
I don't go as far as you in that opinion.
I think my strategy works because you need to shock some people into understanding what they're supporting. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough. Okay, I see what you mean.
I see that I know that they're well-meaning people, but I need to tell them like, this is what you're supporting, because I'm shocked. I need to shock them because I know it might work because they're well-meaning people. Like, you are doing this. Do you understand? Yeah, I think it works. I think some people need to be shocked out of supporting something.
You're telling me Armin's tactic is shock and awe? Color me surprised. You're telling me his tactic is provocation and controversy? Oh my God, who would have thought?
Oh god. All right. Yeah, guilty.
That's
Guilty.
why I love you. That's why I joined Atheist Republic.
I love you too.
That actually is
All
why
right.
when I discovered Atheist Republic, I was like, you know what? This guy, like, I always admired you for your willingness to tell what you believe is true, even if it comes at a cost. Because I know at the time in my life, I knew so many people who were more willing to remain popular than say what was right. And so that's something I've always admired about you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, look at this guy for saying I love you both. Well, thank you. All right. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we are done with all of our kind of bummer news, and now it's just nonsense. It's hilarious, strange, surprising.
Okay. Good. Okay, so we're clapping.
Yes. Next news. Why a Muslim set a mosque on fire to protest homelessness. Yeah, you heard me right. Okay, let's get into it. Let's clap. Next news. In a startling twist of events, Syed Murekazmi, a 42-year-old homeless man, ignited the flames of a mosque in St. Paul, Minnesota, not out of religious hatred, but as a fiery protest against homelessness. After boldly breaking into the Oromo American Tawhid Islamic Center, the mosque erupted into smoke. The act captured chillingly on surveillance footage. This disquieting arson marks the 6th attack against a mosque in Minnesota this year alone. Contrary to the initial beliefs that the arson was an anti-Muslim act, it was revealed the Murekazmi himself is a Muslim. He expressed dissatisfaction with the government and the Islamic Center for not adequately assisting homeless individuals. His criminal track record paints a turbulent past, featuring previous charges of arson, burglary, and property damage. Murekazmi, who was on probation during this unsettling incident, now stands charged with arson, burglary, and drug possession. So this is a doozy. And I know Mustafa is in the live chat and he's in Minnesota, so maybe he'd be able to tell us some more information about these events that have been going on. Okay, Shriyash is saying, the fuck was this dude smoking? The answer is meth. He was smoking crystal.
Oh, was he? Really?
He was captured. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're not promoting that, YouTube.
You were not expecting me to actually be able to answer that question. The answer is he was smoking ice. Like, this is sorry. He just said, fucking hell. Oh my god.
Also, here's actually a question. How the F is this a protest against homelessness? Can you explain that?
Here's the deal. We have to be a little bit critical when we look at this news and be like, this is less religiously motivated than it is. This is a homeless, drug addicted dude who is himself a Muslim that did something wild. Right? Yeah. So let's be clear. That's what happened here. There is a man with a long history of drug abuse and property damage and setting houses of worship on fire. He has a pattern. And this is something he did. So the Oromo American Tawhid Islamic Center was a mosque that served the Ethiopian community. And the actual space wasn't currently being used for worship. And it was more recently being used for like offices. And what he did is he was out on probation for another crime. And he was only released on bail for like 36 hours before he went and did this other crime. And he broke into this mosque and he was like chilling there for a little while. And then the surveillance footage camera caught him like setting a room on fire, then escaping. They used facial recognition to help identify him. And they captured him. And so, I don't think we can attribute like his actions, one, to making any sense. Cause you were like, how is this a protest against homelessness? Don't ask too many questions, okay? this is a method, okay? And two, like,
don't blame it on Islam either, just because he's a
yeah.
Muslim. This guy is just
Yeah. But I think what we can talk about, what's interesting, is how there was immediate reaction that this is an anti-Muslim thing, and lots of outcry. And then it was revealed that this dude is himself a Muslim. He calls himself a Muslim, and then like suddenly it's just like fell off the radar immediately.
Yeah.
Well, there's even this tweet from Ilhan Omar that we can read.
Right. Yo Allah. You want to read this?
Yeah, okay, wait, let me make it bigger for myself. Okay. Ilhan Omar, she said, Ya Allah, this is the 4th arson attack in our community in less than a month. My thoughts are with the Muslim community in St. Paul and the whole Twin Cities metro area. We are stronger than fear. We will not be terrorized. I think this dude might have actually set fire to multiple places because, like I said, there were many attacks that happened very recently. I can't remember exactly how many this man is responsible for. Obviously, an investigation is ongoing. And then someone replied to Ilhan Omar being like, the perpetrator is Muslim.
This is such a... So, first of all, I'm looking at Twitter. A lot of people are making fun of the people who are like, oh my God, this, like people are saying it's white supremacy and this anti-Muslim hate needs to stop and stuff like that. And other people are now pointing, like, actually you put some of them here. Like this person is saying this is frightening and unacceptable. Everyone should be free to practice their religion without fear, standing with you and the Muslim community against this hate. And somebody's like posting, like people are like making fun of all the people who thought that this is anti-Muslim hate by posting, responding to them like, oh, but here's the thing. This is not good because now if there is anti-Muslim hate, burning a mosque or something, people are like, well, we don't know. This could just be one of you guys, right? Like people are going to take, like people are going to use this as ammunition every time somebody is now attacking. We had another person that seemed to be a Muslim that burned another elderly guy, right? Remember that we had that story? That maybe so now
that's
people were
right in London. That dude that was going up to old men, dumping gas on them and setting them on fire outside masjids.
And people were like, "Oh my God, anti-Muslim hate!" And he was Muslim himself, seemed to be Muslim himself as well, right? Like he was so. But here's the thing: just so I want to make sure that we're not one of the guys that is just like, haha, you guys are wrong. We have people on this side as well. Like I remember Yasmin Muhammad, there was an attack of like Yasmin Muhammad coming out on Twitter saying like, oh, we all know who this is. And it ended up not being Muslim. Like it wasn't a Muslim. Like she was. So there, we have on the other side, people assuming that an attack was Islamic and it wasn't Islamic, right? So I think everybody from both sides, whether you're anti-Islam or you are a Muslim, the lesson is either wait so you know what the story is actually about, or be skeptical. Be like just put ifs at the beginning of your sentences. You know what I mean? Just how hard is it? Like, oh my, you could just say like, if this is an anti-Islamic, we're not sure. If this is one of those things, we will stand strong. Just talk with skepticism. Whatever side you're on. Like, how are people not realizing that this is just the right way to talk about the news? Just don't be so certain about what's happening. And remind your audience that we based on what we know, this could be the case, but we're not sure. This is how it's being reported. It makes it so much harder for people to just dismiss you next time if you talk like that, right? I don't know.
D is saying, wait for the facts. Okay. Exactly. See, this is why D is our lovely news editor. I would like everyone in the live chat to say thank you, D, for being such a good editor, because this is exactly what she does. Sometimes we'll cover a news story and she'll be doing the editing and fact checking, and she'll be like, Susanna, actually, we don't know about if this is true yet. So we should make sure to say that in our article. Or she'll point out an angle and be like, well, it could be this. So make sure to consider that when covering the news. I'm like, thank you, D. This is why Well, we don't pay you the big bucks because you're a volunteer, but this is why you're the best volunteer.
This is why if we could afford it, we should be paying you the best.
Exactly. The last thing that I wanted to say was that it reminds me of when it was, I think maybe in Texas or one of the southern states. Do you remember there was that incident that happened last year where there were, I think, at least 3 or 4 Muslim men from the South Asian community that were murdered? And people were like running around screaming that it was an anti-Muslim thing. And then it turned out that it was that guy that was an Afghan refugee that was going around killing people, possibly because it was an anti-Shia thing.
Oh,
and then suddenly that whole case like dropped off the face. Like Biden was talking about it, and then like no one was talking about it. And so I just wanted to mention that because I actually want to say that when people assume that this is an anti-Muslim thing, I think that we should remain skeptical and we should wait for the facts, right? But based on context and Occam's razor, if you make that assumption, I'm not going to entirely blame you, because it makes more sense statistically and also in the context of America in particular that would probably be the most likely explanation for what happened here. It might not be. So, and people have an immediate reaction where they're like, I want to protect people in my community. I want to protect minorities in my community. That's a noble reaction. So I understand why people immediately have that assumption, right? I'm not going to completely condemn it. It's an empathetic response. But we should still like remain skeptical. And then, but the other thing is, okay, when we find out this isn't an anti-minority thing, that doesn't mean that we should just not pay attention to it. Because when it's not an anti-minority thing, suddenly the media has no interest in covering it. So,
yes, you're right. Also, let me defend Ilhan Omar. This might have not been an anti-Muslim attack, but anti-Muslim attacks are on the rise. I mean, isn't that the case?
I don't know about attacks, but I know that statistically, Americans have historically are expressing the least amount of anti-Muslim bias and attitudes that we have ever had.
Oh,
so in terms of attitudes, we are very, very good. Attacks, I can't remember. I know when it comes to against our good Jewish brothers and sisters, that is definitely rising. I don't remember off the top of my head about Muslims.
Okay, I don't know if this for sure. I heard some reports showing that in the US, anti-Muslim attacks are on the rise, even though the general attitudes are improving, the attacks are increasing. But I might be wrong about this. I have to double check that. Okay, but whether or not this attack was by a Muslim or not, we have to take that seriously. You know, so don't let people use this mistake as an excuse not to treat anti-Muslim attacks seriously. It's important. They do get attacked. Everybody, including non-Muslims, should support them. Right? So, you know,
yeah, like I said,
this as an excuse.
There has been 6 attacks on mosques in Minnesota this year alone.
Right.
So like, there's other stuff happening that might actually have a genuine hateful motive. But this guy is just my brain. My brain just went, this guy's just a Muslim off the rails.
No. I hope he gets help, because he seems like he needs help. But that guy,
he actually said that he was happy that the authorities arrested him because he was going to keep on doing it.
Okay, this guy, poor guy, has mental problems and needs support. So we don't even blame that individual. That guy is like, you know, obviously has issues. Okay. You know, one thing I want to say, I hope I sometimes feel like we don't get the same amount of love from the atheists for the atheist community. We don't have like an equivalent channel that is Islamic or Christian or Hindu that is this concerned about the safety and well-being of atheists. You know?
Oh no!
I wish, like we are an anti-Islamic, anti-Christianity, anti-religion as a whole channel here, and we speak about our concern for the well-being of Christians and Muslims and Jews and Hindus, even though we're against the religion, I think more than most Muslim channels. Like, if you look at how much Atheist Republic has talked in defense of Muslim rights, it adds up more than the top Islamic channels, English Islamic channels combined, right? And we don't have any equivalent of this, like a Muslim channel, this being this dedicated to also being concerned about atheist rights. So sometimes I feel like atheists are so alone when it comes to their rights and their well-being and people being concerned about them. I don't know. I hope we move into a world, closer to a world where, atheists' rights and livelihood and well-being is a concern for other people as well, not just for other atheists.
Yeah, like I know individual religious people who hold those opinions, but they don't have like a platform where they put that out publicly. Like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah. Anyway,
Mustafa is saying the most charitable thing I heard was from Muhammad Hijab, where in an ideal Islamic state we would just be deported.
Yeah. And that was in support of us not being executed.
Yeah.
You would
I mean,
just
in that
kick
sense,
us
it
out.
is charitable.
It was China, yeah. Instead of Muhammad is just like, maybe instead of executing us, they could just deport us. So thank you so much. Okay.
Oh,
but again,
our benevolent masters, thank you.
Yes. But then here's the thing: that is until Islam takes over the whole world. Okay.
Oh,
because,
exactly.
Yeah. So the phase one is for you to have Islamic Caliphate back, and then you will have Darul Islam and Darul Harb. So you have part of the world which is Islamic and part of the world which is not Islamic. And if you are a non-Muslim, you could just leave. They're saying, okay, maybe we don't have to execute them. They could just go to the non-Islamic part. But again, they believe that at some point, every country, the entire planet would be Islamic, right? And then there's no way to deport you anymore. And then I guess the only option would be execution, right? Yeah. And again, because we're not even Ahlul Kitab, so yeah, what?
Cosmic Heathen said, deport us to Allah. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my god.
Damn it. Oh my god. Oh, Erkin is sending us 100 Turkish currencies. I don't know what that Turkish lira is. That lira? Yes. Thank you so much, Erkin. Erkin is saying state borders didn't exist in the era when Islam started. Yes, state borders didn't exist, but it was understood that territories existed. Like, it wasn't as clear cut as like this is where this part is here and that part is ours.
Get expelled
so it wasn't
into the hinterlands.
Yeah, but territories were a thing. Territories, like, this is our land and that's your land. That was the thing before we had like state borders. Yeah. But anyways, thank you so much for the super chat. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes. This is just
silliness. Okay, good. Next news.
Holy hijinks. How one lawmaker's Bible prank turned into an ethics inquiry. In a case that marries the holy with the hijinks, Stephanie Stahl Hamilton, a Democratic representative and a Presbyterian minister from Arizona, has been thrust into the limelight after an unusual Bible hiding prank ignited an ethics inquiry against her. Hamilton was caught on hidden camera taking Bibles belonging to her fellow representatives and hiding them in unusual places, sparking an ethics complaint filed by 3 Republican representatives. They accused Hamilton of theft, disorderly conduct, and creating a hostile work environment. Hamilton's prank was intended to highlight the issue of the separation of church and state, but it appears the line between jest and disrespect was crossed in the eyes of her colleagues. Hamilton's apology stated that she never intended to desecrate the Bible or offend anyone and called for a genuine conversation about the separation of church and state. Despite issuing an apology and recognizing the offense her prank may have caused, the incident has sparked a contentious debate about religious discrimination and political retribution. So let me give a little bit of background. In the Arizona, state chambers, they had, I can't remember exactly what area of the House of Representatives, state House of Representatives it is, but there's somewhere in the official state building where there are Bibles that are available. And I believe these Bibles are just there. I wasn't, based on my research, under the impression that they were this specific property of individuals. I could be wrong, but that was not my impression. It seemed like these were just Bibles that just stayed in these areas of the government's chambers. And in fact, the Bible apparently is the only religious text that is just openly and freely available in these government chambers of lawmakers, the part of the public lawmaking chambers. And so what Stephanie did for apparently a few weeks is she would take the Bibles that she would find around the state lawmaking chambers and hide them. So she would take them and put them under couch cushions, or she put the Bible in the refrigerator, and and she kept on doing this to the point that some of her Republican colleagues set up secret cameras to catch who was doing this. And so she was caught on hidden cam, caught in 4K, 4K, okay? And she was caught in 4K hiding the Bibles. And this has, meant that they're opening an ethics inquiry against her, which means that at most she could receive, it could turn into nothing, or it could turn into a censure, or it could turn into her being actually removed from office, I think is the
Why
worst.
is it making a big deal of it? She didn't do am I wrong? She didn't do that. She was just hiding. She didn't steal them. They got their Bibles back. She was just hiding them. What's
and they're
the
saying
big
that
deal?
she's creating a hostile work environment towards Christians.
What?
But she's literally a Presbyterian minister. So they can't really claim full-blown discrimination because she's a legit pastor.
So she's a Christian that believes in secularism? Separation of church.
Not only is she a Christian that believes in secularism, but she's literally a preacher.
Okay. Well, I kind of like her. Am I wrong to like her? I don't think she did anything wrong.
So her thing is this is supposed to be a commentary on separating religion from the House of Government. Right?
Do you think she did anything wrong? I think she was even if she did something wrong, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Do I think that it was morally wrong? No, not at all. Do I think that it was probably inappropriate for
who cares?
The context of being a politician or the workplace? Possibly.
I mean,
but the worst offense, not even close. Not even close.
I like her, actually. I like her.
Yeah.
She's a Christian who believes in secularism to the point that she wanted to make a point. I mean, it worked. Now we're talking about it. So I think it was appropriate. I thank you for your service.
Yeah.
I like her.
D is calling it fake outrage for political spectacle. And there's some people in the Arizona state representatives who say that this is Republicans just jumping on the opportunity to take retribution against her because she was responsible for getting a Republican actually kicked out. I can't remember what that person did, but they're saying, they're just trying to get one back on her because of that.
They give us free Bibles, guys. It's not that big of a deal. And she got, Bibles are all over the place. You will have access to your Bibles. Oh my God.
And Mustafa's correcting me. He's saying that these were in the break room, that they were on a coffee table. Okay. Maybe I misremembered exactly where they were in the state law building, but somewhere in that area.
And you know what? I think this is you're right. Dark is of course they'll play the victim card. Yeah. I mean, this is the most Christian thing you could do. You know what I mean? Jesus, and we must be true Christians. We bring up press. They play the prank. They put my Bible in the fridge. Are we not the most oppressed people in the world? We are. This is Christian phobia.
Man.
By another Christian.
And it was interesting. NPR like interviewed a different Christian pastor about this incident and being like, what do you think about this? And she was like, yeah, I mean, I do find this kind of offensive, but what I find more offensive is people weaponizing my faith for political expediency. And I think that while I don't like what she did, it is a good conversation starter in a way. People are calling this full-blown desecration, which I find like very interesting. And I thought it was kind of interesting because when people criticize us for the forms of protest or desecration or blasphemy that we do, especially in regards to making a commentary on free expression, it's a very similar thing where like we're doing this partially as a way to start a conversation. Yeah. You know, like get people thinking about that. If it causes so much shock and outrage, then ask why and then investigate why. So I mean, I don't know. I find this very interesting. And do I think this is a big deal? No, but people are going to make it a big deal.
Yeah. Anyway,
Newmont is saying that Armin, ask her out.
Okay. Yeah, another reminder where many Christians try to jump on any opportunity to claim victimhood. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, because it is about freedom and innocence.
Okay, good.
Next news. Satanic panic nightmare ends. Wrongful conviction dismissed after 30 years. And a triumphant end to a 3-decade-long nightmare rooted in the infamous Satanic Panic. Melvin Quinley, a San Antonio man wrongfully accused and imprisoned for allegedly, let me be clear, leading a satanic cult and committing sexual abuse, has finally been exonerated. Quinley's ordeal began amidst a contentious divorce in 1990 when his wife accused him of heinous crimes tied to satanic rituals. His children, then influenced by their mother, therapists, and law enforcement, developed false memories of abuse and occult practices. Quinley was sentenced to 20 years in prison and served 8 before his release. His conviction carried heavy burdens, including a mandatory sex offender registry and estrangement from his children. With the unwavering support of the Innocence Project of Texas and his youngest son, Matthew, Quinley managed to reopen his case, leading to his full exoneration after his oldest son, John, recanted his previous testimonies. Quinley can now finally look forward to a future free from the terrors of the past with the hope of reconnecting with his family. So this is wild. Let me give more background. So in the 1990s, this man, he was married, had some kids, and when he was getting divorced, his wife basically seized upon the satanic panic happening at the time, which is like all absolute moral panic, hysteria nonsense. And even the most famous cases of the satanic panic that happened, like those people have been exonerated. And she basically convinced her son, who was only 10 years old at the time, John, that he had been put through horrific, devious, depraved abuse by his father. To the point that John, little John, when he was 10 years old or around that age, had to go on the stand and testify against his father with these very sick, graphic details of things that he had been made to believe and convinced had happened to him. Because they were like, just the adults in his life were constantly reinforcing to him that, yes, this has happened. That the positive memories that you have with your father are actually your brain trying to cover up the fact that you've been through something this horrific. Like completely just gaslighting this child into like another realm to convince him that this is real, get him on the stand and testify against his father. And this really happened. And his dad was sentenced to 20 years and he had to serve 8 years on this. 8 years in prison on this as someone who was accused of crimes that are this horrific. Now, if you live in America, I do not have to tell you about how serious that is when you're in our prison system. If you have that kind of a crime that you're accused of in our prison system, you have a target painted on your forehead, and every day people are looking to end you. I am not joking.
No.
If you have a charge like that, they call it a jacket. If you're wearing a jacket, if you have a jacket within prison culture, one of the primary ways in which people gain status and credibility within the other prison gangs is to take you out. No questions asked. Especially if you're close to someone who's serving a life sentence. So it's extremely dangerous to be put in that position. And he had to serve 8 years in that prison.
I understand. The jacket is what? Like somebody who...
That's prison slang for someone who has a charge related to anything bad with minors.
Children. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm like, just thinking about the risks to his life that he went through during those 8 years is insane for something that he never did. And then when he finally got out, he was completely estranged from his children. This is like a devious level of parental alienation, which is like a form of brainwashing. And
what happened to the mom?
I don't think anything happened to her. She died before, like, I can't remember how recently she died, but she died. And so she's never going to be held accountable for what she put this man through. All over this satanic panic nonsense. And I think Dee really wanted me to cover this story, our lovely editor Dee, because I kind of like forgot that this is something that still impacts people's life to this day. What happened in the early 90s and just the hysteria that was going on.
And a new one is starting. I think the trans panic is an extension of the satanic panic.
I mean, some people who are against it literally tie the two directly together. They do think it's literally satanic.
Yeah.
And all the book banning. Yeah, the LGBT moral panic. Yeah, that's been going on for a while. It kind of started with the anti-critical race theory thing, and then it just kind of evolved into like what it is now. It's absolutely wild. Yeah.
We should.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy for this man. He was awarded a bunch of money by the state, in recompense for him having to serve this sentence, or 8 years of his sentence. And he's so sweet. He was like, I'm gonna, hopefully with this money, I can go move closer to my family and like make up for lost time.
Oh,
yeah. But now he finally gets to be free of this, and he doesn't have to be on any sort of registry. All for something he never did to his children. Like, to be robbed of that relationship with your children in this way is horrific. Absolutely horrific. And there are people out here who do, I mean, even if it doesn't have a satanic blend or flavor, they convince their children that their father had done this to them. To be able to alienate their children. It's sick. It is absolutely sick. And if you manipulate your children into believing something like that, I have no sympathy for you. I have no sympathy for any consequence that comes from you doing that to your former spouse. It's reprehensible, unforgivable, and
yeah. Anyways, we need to move on to the next news. This is interesting. What the hell is this? Okay, can we clap for this?
Yes, because we're going to dunk on some bigotry.
Okay.
And I love dunking on bigotry.
That should be cut out. That's beautiful. That should, guys, somebody cut that part out. That's pretty good.
It's one of my favorite activities.
Yes.
It's my hobby.
All right, next news.
The look in my eye. Okay. Next news. Upper caste Hindus threaten immolation to keep untouchables out of temple. In an escalating conflict centered around the controversial topic of caste-based restrictions in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu, tensions ran high as upper caste Hindus in the village of Melpathi protested fiercely, even threatening self-immolation to prevent Dalits, the group formerly known as Untouchables, for those who don't know, but they're called Dalits, from entering the local Sri Dhamaraja Draupadi Amman temple. This incident, which ignited socio-religious tensions and even necessitated the deployment of law enforcement, has been brewing since April. Despite Dalits registering a protest case about their prohibition from entering the temple, no further action was taken by the authorities. This lack of response prompted the villagers to petition for their right to enter the temple. Tamil Nadu's Minister for Higher Education, K. Ponmundi, publicly called for unity and religious equality, stressing the temple's inclusive administration by the Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments Department, which means it is a state temple. It is organized and administered by the state, which means that you cannot discriminate on who goes inside that temple. However, the upper caste Hindus remained defiant, staging fasting protests and threatening self-immolation. While authorities managed to disperse the crowds and restore some order, the incident underlines the underlying and enduring challenges of caste discrimination.
Okay, Susanna, we have bigotry, and we have I'm willing to burn myself for my bigotry.
Yes.
That is some level of dedication to bigotry. As I don't think even the Yazidis were this committed to their bigotry. Like, were they willing to burn themselves alive for Jewish people? Like, I don't know. This is like highest levels of bigotry that I've seen, and all for just not letting them in the temple. It's insane.
I have an opinion on this that I don't know if I can say on YouTube. Let me just say that if you believe so firmly in your heart that other people are so inferior on such a level, like spiritually, materially, you believe them to be so inferior that them entering a space moves you to set yourself on fire. I'm just going to say, I think the YouTube version is that I do not have sympathy for you. Like, what? How? This is mind-boggling that you genuinely believe a group of people to be so dirty and unclean that it's better for you to set yourself on fire in protest of them going to a spiritual space, any space, but a spiritual space which ostensibly is supposed to be like bringing people together and helping them transcend barriers and all this blah, 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 blah. I really don't know what to say. Yeah, Imran is kind of summarizing my thoughts. A bigot wants to self-immolate? Oh, no. Anyways, so...
No, don't say that. Nah, guys, no. Don't say that. Don't say that.
I don't know, Armin, what do you think about this? Because this breaks my brain.
So some people are pointing out that the headline is wrong, that these people are not upper caste, they're Shudras, but upper caste means like higher at least they're higher caste than Dalits.
Yes.
So upper caste here is not like the upper caste as in the highest, the Brahmins. Upper caste here as in Shudras relative to the Dalits, which are completely outcast. The Shudras are a higher caste because they're at least within the caste system, right? Than the outcast. But I think because a lot of people consider upper caste to mean refer to the Brahmins, we shouldn't be using the we shouldn't be using the title of the name upper caste in the title. So
Okay, I guess higher caste might
higher,
technically make
because
more
higher
sense.
caste, because upper is higher, so it's technically right because it's higher caste, but upper caste
Yeah.
is the title for Brahmins. So I think
Well,
we should be say
upper
higher
caste is the
caste.
title for Sarvanas,
Yes,
meaning you go through the second birth.
Well, no, okay, yes. So the three higher upper castes. Yeah, you're right. Anything other than the Shudras, but not the Shudras. But again, this shows how the bigotry is so deep. Correct me if I'm wrong. That even the Shudras, who are the lowest within the castes, still participate in this bigotry against somebody lower than them, which are the Dalits.
Yeah.
Like even the people who are the victims of this disgusting caste system, they still uphold it because they are higher than somebody that is outside of the caste system.
And it's also happened in Tamil Nadu, which has a very, very stringent and deep history of casteism, which is actually kind of why it's so interesting that some of the most passionate anti-caste movements have come out of Tamil Nadu, like Periyar and his work towards rationalism and stuff like that. Why some of these movements came out so strong from South India is because of how the system actually really was that strong there.
Right. So see, Shriyash is saying upper caste is used exclusively for the three high upper castes, right? So we have four castes and outcasts, right? So the four castes, the three higher one are considered upper caste. The Shudras, which is the lowest caste, so the title shouldn't say upper caste because these people are Shudras. And then we have the Dalits who are the outcasts, right? So the Shudras they're lower caste, but they're at least within the caste system and they're above the Dalits. So yeah, the title needs to be fixed. It's not an upper caste Hindus who's written.
Oxymoron is saying Shudras aren't twice born. I didn't say that Shudras are twice born. I said the opposite.
She said the opposite. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Look at this. He's saying you really don't understand. You don't even pay attention to what she's saying. What she said was completely accurate. You are butthurt over the fact that we're demonstrating how insane Hinduism is, and you're taking your butthurt over Susanna, even though she completely understands the caste system. She understands it even more than you do, Oxymoron. And she was completely accurate about what she said. You're the one who's wrong here, and you're just butthurt over the fact that we're highlighting disgusting, bigoted beliefs from Hinduism.
And here's the thing. It's not even that some of them threatened self-immolation. It's that some of them actively tried. Some of them actively already tried.
Well, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand having a level of hatred where you would rather take yourself out.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. It just blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, people are saying you said, you didn't say the Shudras are twice born. You were very specific and very clear. You just butthurt and you don't know what you're talking about. Susanna understands Hinduism and the caste system more than most Hindus and more than you, Oxymoron. Yeah, I can, Oxymoron doesn't even understand Hindu scripture. Like, he has the most bizarre takes on Hindu scripture. He's completely, his knowledge is so lacking.
I remember
in
his interpretation of the Ramayana. That was the most wild, cocked out thing I've ever heard.
Like,
for someone who's a fascist, his explanation of why Lord Rama did what he did was the most cocked explanation I have ever heard. Oh my God.
He doesn't even has the most basic understanding of the principles of Hinduism, and he comes here acting like he's an expert.
Hey,
all right.
Sometimes it just hit me. I have a wave of memories of the opinions he's expressed here on this channel just hit me, and then I'm like, oh yeah.
All right.
Cosmic Heathen is saying Susanna is more Indian at this point than I am. Okay, I would not say that at all. I will say I recently made a new friend from India, and we were just having a conversation and we are just getting to know each other. So he doesn't know like my background and what I do as much or what I do here. And through our conversation, he was like, wait, you actually know like a lot, and I'm freaked out right now. Because I mean, that was funny to me because usually I only get that reaction from Iranians. When Iranians are like, wait, you actually know too much about my culture, and I'm uncomfortable.
By the way, guys, Oxymoron is a member of Atheist Republic channel, so he's supporting us financially, and I'm still not holding back. I'm not still, and a patron and a YouTube member, and I'm still not holding back.
But then he also says that he has bigotry of low expectations towards us at this point because of how low of an opinion
and
he has.
He also accepts that he's a fascist. He also defends fascism and defends racism. Yeah. So.
Well, this is why we call him Oxymoron.
Oxymoron. Okay. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
I love this. You're actually saying sometimes that happens with my Muslim friends. You're like, hold up, you know too much, and now I have questions.
You know what? I remember in school, I was told by my religion teacher that I know too much. I asked my religion teacher in school, is it true that in Islam, that if you are too far away from women for too long, that you can have sex with animals, right?
Okay, wait, I need to mentally prepare myself before you continue. Okay.
And then
wait, Armin. Okay, repeat that sentence again now that I'm okay.
So I asked my religion teacher when I was in Iran as a student, my Quran teacher in school, that is it true in Islam that if you're far away from your wife and your sex slaves and you have no access to women for long, that your goat or your camel or your sheep becomes permissible? Okay? And he said, yes, it's true, but you shouldn't know this. You know too much. Who told you this? That's what his answer was. Yeah. Like, you're a child. It was like, you're a kid. Why do you know this? This is not something you should know at your age. That's what he told. So I remember that. Yeah, this is true. You guys didn't know this?
I think maybe I did, but then my brain deleted it.
Okay. No, this is Islamic teaching. You are allowed. It's permissible. If you're too far away from
I love Darko, the poor teacher that had to deal with young Armin.
Okay, Armin, why did you know that?
I actually have questions. That was my next question.
My mom told me.
Okay. How old are you?
I was young. I was pretty young. Yeah, I was a child.
Is this before you got really religious? Or was it when you were getting really religious and your mom wanted to tell you this to try and make you calm the F down? Because I know your parents didn't like it when you got very religious.
No, this was before.
Oh, wow.
If I remember correctly. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit, his mom is dank as fuck. Based mom. That's actually kind of funny to think about. I was thinking, if Armin is this much of a pain in the ass for people like that are religious, like, or if the way that you function and how passionate you are, and you just go for full steam ahead what you believe, like, imagine what you would have been like if you actually were really religious.
Yeah, but wait, hold on. Can I add to something? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. There's also now that I remember, there's also instructions on what you're supposed to do with it after you fuck it.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No,
you have to kill it, and I think you're supposed to sell the meat, outside of the town, like not within the same place that you live.
But you're still supposed to sell it.
Yeah, you're supposed to sell it, the meat. But I don't remember the details. But there was
talk about a foodborne illness. Oh my god.
I forgot about the exact details. Like, I think Skyfall knows what I'm talking about. No way. Yeah, you're supposed to kill it. You're supposed to kill it soon after you use it in that way, and you're supposed to sell the meat specifically to people outside of the town. Yeah, Soha is confirming. Am I like people are grossed out? Sorry, again. We're YouTube. We're not endorsing these. These are Islamic teachings.
Is this Islamic or is this some Shia nonsense?
I don't know. I have to double check.
To be fair, to be completely fair.
No, but Soha is confirming this. Soha comes from a Sunni background. Soha doesn't come from a Shia. So, like, am I right, Soha? Right? Yeah.
Wow.
He's like, yeah, Islam has a guide for everything. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know why you're not supposed to, like, okay, so obviously, I understand that you have to kill the animal and you're not supposed to throw the meat away. I mean, technically, it's still good meat. Okay, it's still good meat. It doesn't, just because you had sex with it, it doesn't ruin the meat, right? But you just don't understand why it instructs you to, okay, now you really have to kill it. Like, why can't I wait until it maybe grows a little bit? Also, why do I have to sell the meat specifically in certain locations now that I had sex with it? I don't know.
That actually reminds me. Oh my god, this is taking a turn. I don't know if I should get into this. Do you remember when I told you that I had a conversation?
See, these are people from Turkey. Turkey is Erkin is from Turkey, and he's confirming that this is also Sunni Islam. But go on, sorry, go.
It reminds me of a conversation I had with Babak about, we were talking about if you, shall I say, use a cucumber. If you use a cucumber, is it wrong to eat the cucumber afterwards? Is it gross? we had like a 20-minute conversation about this. And I was so upset. And he's like, why is it wrong? And I'm like, oh my God, it's just gross.
No, but if you wash it, he has a point.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, well, this show took a big turn today. We took a turn. There was a plot twist, but we're all having fun. Okay, it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Newman said pre-salted. That's fucking disgusting.
I mean, it's healthy. To be fair, if the person is healthy, there's nothing wrong. Okay. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Okay, I need to just get myself together because that.
Guys, we do not endorse this behavior, guys. This is not the behavior that we endorse.
Okay, oh God. Oh my God.
The cucumber one is fine though. Anyways. God, what? You're reading too many of the comments. You should...
Yeah. I have to stop reading the live chat. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. No, I just saw another one. Okay, literally, I'm just not gonna look.
Is it this one? The stuffed turkey?
No, Mustafa had stuffed turkey. Oh my god.
Oh, wait, this is funny, the comment, but also the username. Retired Fudge is saying, I'm not having cucumbers in a while, I think. But Retired Fudge, I don't know if people know the context. That's pretty funny as well.
That's funny.
All right. We need to move on. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes.
Okay. Next news. Persecuted Nigerian atheist prisoner adopted by U.S. Congressman. In a significant development, U.S. Congressman Jamie Raskin has taken up the case of Nigerian atheist Mubarak Bala, who has been sentenced to 24 years in prison for allegedly assaulting the Prophet Muhammad. Congressman Raskin, through the Lantos Commission's Defending Freedom Project, aims to bring attention to Bala's unjust imprisonment and advocate for his release. Bala's case highlights the dangers of theocracy and the suppression of free expression and thought. Congressman Raskin emphasized the urgent need to defend these fundamental human rights globally and called on Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari to issue a pardon for Bala.
The Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, alongside other organizations such as Freedom Now and the European Parliament, have also rallied behind Bala's case, demanding accountability and urging the repeal of blasphemy laws in Nigeria. Mubarak Bala, the former president of the Humanist Association of Nigeria, continues to appeal his conviction while human rights organizations work tirelessly to secure his freedom. Bala's sponsorship by prominent politicians and institutions worldwide underscores the urgent need for the protection of free expression and the freedom of belief for atheists. So this is amazing because we have talked about, like, for Iranian political prisoners, for example, it's kind of become popular over the past several months that politicians will adopt a political prisoner, and then that prisoner will have a politician outside their own country who is monitoring their case, speaking to the media on behalf of their case, advocating for them within their own governments, and using their own available processes of international leverage to try to make sure that this person is well cared for, that they're treated well in prison, or best case scenario, freed, exonerated, unconditionally released. And so this is a really positive development because last year, Mubarak Bala was sentenced to 24 years in prison for insulting the Prophet Muhammad. And what he did when he insulted the Prophet Muhammad, allegedly, is he was actually in the post that this all started behind. It was a Facebook post. And he was really having a criticism of terrorism. And it was a criticism of, like, violence in his community, and people that were promoting violence in his community, and religious preachers that were promoting those really dangerous attitudes. And he was making a comparison between those local preachers and the Prophet Muhammad, and people blew it out of proportion. Lawyers filed petitions against him saying that this man needs to be arrested before Muslims go attack him. And if the Muslims attack him, then that's a threat to peace and stability. So therefore, we're essentially going to blame the victim, and we're going to go throw him in jail. And he was held illegally in jail for 2 years, 2.5 years, until he finally received his sentence. And the sentence shocked everyone involved with the case, because he had been led to believe that if he just says that he's guilty, that they'll stop harassing his family, that they'll let him go because he'd already been serving over 2 years behind bars. So they were like, okay, maybe there'd be a suspended sentence, all this stuff. No, they threw the book at him on every single minute detail of anything that could even remotely be considered a crime and anything that he did. And they gave him that sentence of all those little pieces consecutively, a consecutive sentence, which added up to 24 years. So the whole situation is, just a complete miscarriage of justice. So many elements about how his case was treated as completely illegal under Nigerian law. He's been abused in custody, denied medical treatment, forced to pray Islamically, and threatened. Him and his family have been threatened while he's been in custody. And now he's been charged and blah, blah, blah. So this is really positive because this keeps the case of Bala in the news. It keeps it relevant. It keeps people talking about it. It spreads awareness. And also Jamie Raskin, shouts out to Jamie Raskin. Where was a comment from D? She's saying, I adore Jamie Raskin. Exactly. Jamie Raskin, I have never fangirled for a U.S. congressman before. But I am a Jamie Raskin fangirl because Jamie Raskin, not only is he doing this, which immediately I'm going to be a fan of you, he also is part of the Free Thought Caucus, which helps promote free thought in the United States and protect secularism. And he was also the representative that sponsored the portion of this bill that went through the House of Representatives, and then there was a sister one that had to go through the Senate. But it was basically this bill that said that the United States is going to prioritize the repeal of blasphemy and apostasy laws in its international foreign policy. So putting the promotion of free expression in our international foreign policy, making that a priority, that when we engage with countries, we are going to be focusing on liaising with them to repeal apostasy and blasphemy laws. So obviously that is of the utmost importance to our global Atheist Republic community. And this is a major accomplishment that he did. We celebrated that when it happened a few years ago. And so I just want to give a shout out to Representative Jamie Raskin for continuing really amazing work and continuing the work of defending blasphemers, because this is something that is not potentially politically popular, right? If there's a politician coming out and saying that I'm going to go protect someone that's accused of insulting the Prophet Muhammad, that could come at a political cost potentially. If people don't understand the context of the case, they're saying, why are you protecting someone that's insulting the religion of a religious minority here in the United States? They could paint it in a totally bad light, right? But he's not worried about that. He's going to go and defend Mubarak Bala, this ex-Muslim atheist who is like an icon for Nigerian and African atheists. So huge thank you to Representative Raskin. Again, I would like everyone to go pay attention to Mubarak Bala's case, hashtag Free Mubarak Bala. And also, if you're interested in supporting his case, Humanists International is continuing to raise money for his legal defense as they attempt to overappeal his 24-year conviction. So this is obviously a fight that isn't over, but there are still people who are in there fighting for Mubarak Bala and fighting for the rights of our Nigerian non-believing atheist brothers and sisters.
Is there any way that you could maybe get in touch with Representative Jamie Raskin?
Yeah.
Because that would be so amazing if you could do that. Because this seemed like the best representative for you to have a connection with, if it's possible. Because you've already, like, next week we're going to talk about Susanna doing something similar that has been successful. So if we could do this as well, that would be great.
I'm not part of his constituency, but that doesn't necessarily always matter. But yeah.
Do you think this man, has been through enough? His family put him in mental institution, and now he's rotting in jail. And Mustafa is saying, I think he's also battling cancer on top.
I have never heard anything about cancer. Let me be clear. I've never heard anything about cancer. I know that he does have hypertension and was denied medication for his hypertension, which was a grave concern, especially during the pandemic. But I've never heard anything about cancer. And Tema is saying, do you automatically get immunity in Nigeria if you're adopted by a U.S. citizen? Let me be clear. This is not a literal adoption, right? This is not like you're my son. This is like a political adoption, basically meaning like I'm going to take on your case. It's symbolic.
It's symbolic. It's supposed to bring a lot of attention to the case. That's what it does. So it doesn't change anything legally. And that's what it is. Oh, D is saying Raskin has cancer. Raskin has cancer. I thought you were talking about. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Damn.
Okay. Damn. That's okay. All right. We should move on. No. Okay. Can we clap for the X News?
Yes. Do you want to show it on the one that I emailed to you, or I posted on my Instagram and we could show that?
I want to share the Instagram one because it comes with the caption that you wrote.
Beautiful.
By the way, guys, you should also follow Susanna on Instagram. Anyways, but let's. I'm gonna put you on for this, and then I'll come back, okay? Because I want you to. Oh, no, we're just gonna show the video. Oh, you don't have a text, okay? Yeah. Okay. All right, so can we can clap for this one? Right?
Yes, we can. This is amazing. This is something that excites me. It's amazing.
Emotional, yes. Oh, okay. Next news. We have received an Atheist Republic member a message from Iran. Atheist Republic's message from Iran, and this is absolutely incredible. It like gives me chills. So Armin, you recently had a video that was sent to you by one of our members on the Persian side of our community called Jumhuri Bi Khodayan. And this is a video of, should we play the video and then I can read the captions as we go? Yeah.
The subtitles, I mean?
Well, I mean, it's hard to play it on Instagram. Maybe I should upload the video because it gives me more option, because here there's no pause or back buttons.
Okay, whatever. I'll give the full context first. So basically, guys,
Okay.
we received a video from one of our members inside Iran, and he visited the grave of Mohsen Shekhari and left flowers for Mohsen Shekhari on behalf of the global Atheist Republic community. On behalf of all of our members, he went to go give flowers to the Mohsen Shekhari. And for those who don't know, Mohsen Shekhari was the first civilian protester who was executed as a direct result of the Masa Amini uprising, the anti-government protests that have been happening since September. And Mohsen Shekhari, who was only 22 years old, and he was hung to death, suffocated, simply because he was accused of blocking off a road to prevent the Basiji paramilitary forces from attacking civilians. And he's also accused of non-fatally injuring a Basiji. And for this, he was executed for defending his community against brutal state violence meant to murder their own civilians in the street. And he went to go present flowers to Mohsen, and he made this video and sent it to us. And I had another one of our friends in Atheist Republic, Purya John. He helped me. He translated this and put the subtitles on the video for me. And I was really, really excited to show you guys this. So should we just play it? Or should
play
we
and pause? Or do you want to? No, guys, maybe you could just read the caption off of the screen. So because I'm just going to play the entire thing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Let me refresh so it starts from the beginning. Oh, wow. This is so stupid. The way yeah, here. Let me try again. Is it going to mute?
It's always going to mute it.
Armin, salam.
I don't understand. All right. Here, let me try.
Every time you refresh, it mutes it.
Yeah. I'm going to do it fast.
آرمین سلام به تو و همه بچه جمهوری بی خدایان. ما امروز اومدیم به چند تا از بچه ها سر بزنیم بگذرا. الان که محسن شکاری میشه مزار محسن شکاری خواستم از طرف همه بچه های جمهوری بی خدایان این گلو بزنم روی مزارش به امید اینکه راهشون همیشه ادامه داشته باشه و بتونیم مسیرشون رو ادامه بدیم. ممنون. مرسی.
So guys, that was a flower on behalf. This is in Iran, okay? This is on behalf of Atheist Republic. One of our team members, decided to give. One of the people is putting flowers on the gravestone on behalf of Atheist Republic. That's so sweet. Do you want to read the caption, Susie? That you put there?
Let me pull it up on my computer. Give me half a second so I can read it better.
Okay.
Yeah. So this. I don't know, this video meant so much to me to receive this. So this is what I wrote, because this is when I'm actually going to get emotional. Okay, I'll read my caption. I said, we recently received this video from Iran. One of our Atheist Republic members visited the grave of Mohsen Shekhari, who offered him flowers on behalf of our community. And then I give an explanation about who Mohsen Shekhari is that I just gave. And I say, this is why I am so proud to lead Atheist Republic. We are a grassroots community that appreciates and derives strength from our interconnectedness as a global community. Fine, I'm so emotional right now. We recognize the importance of standing in solidarity with those who face oppression and discrimination due to their non-belief or their pursuit of personal autonomy. I draw so much strength from my friends across every corner of this world, and I hope my efforts to represent their voices when they can't speak openly for themselves brings them comfort and hope. Our members and friends are the most courageous people I have ever met, many who sacrifice greatly and work tirelessly to achieve the freedoms that I was born with by accident of birth. You are my eternal inspiration, and the influence you have had on me can never be erased.
Oh, that was very sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. It just means a lot to me, I think it's because I know we have a global community, but sometimes when you can see it like this, like it really hits home that we are all a part of this extended network. And I have so much gratitude that I am part of a community and collective that deeply values the fact that we're connected together. You know, like maybe it's just me, but when something is impacting, you know, one of my friends or community members somewhere else in the world, like it impacts me. And sometimes people say like, oh, Susanna, it's surprising that you care about this cause because you don't have skin in the game. Meaning like, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my family or something. And I understand why they say that, but I kind of get offended because to me, I'm like, but I do have skin in the game. Like my skin in the game is the well-being of my friends and like the closest people in my life, the people who have contributed to who I am as an individual, shaped me, who teach me about this world, who give me greater perspectives, who have imbued these values that I hold so dear. Like if it impacts their well-being, it impacts my well-being. And so it really moves me, like when it's visualized in a way, and you can see how close our community is to this issue. You know, our community is close enough to be able to go mourn at the graves of those who were executed in their fight for liberty. You know, like that's incredible. How many organizations and communities around the world can say that in the way that we can say that? And that's why I feel so proud, because I think that's what makes us unique. I think that's what we bring to the world. And it means the world to me.
Oh.
And I'm so
No.
thankful that we attract other people that also value that. That's what matters the most to me, is like other people in our community, that's what they care about. That's what they value. And that's amazing, because I don't always feel that in other spaces.
No.
And especially in other atheist spaces, I don't feel that they are as attentive towards the needs of our global community the way that we are. And I don't know. What do you think, as I'm getting all emotional?
Well, I am going to highlight what other people are thinking. Dee is saying, "Oh, so sweet," and this is in response to the person in the video. And then Young Atheist is saying he was a hero, proud to be a member of Atheist Republic. Thank you, Adam. I'm gonna read the captions because Adam said the captions are not clear, so I'm gonna read the captions. Adam is also saying you made me cry. You made a lot of people cry. Young Atheist was crying. Norman was tearing up. Oh. And Cosmic Heathen is saying your empathy means a lot, Susie. Mr. Jalal is saying much respect, more power to you all. Who says atheists don't have faith? Well, I would say that.
He's making a joke.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, okay, yeah. But like D is saying, well said, Susanna. Adam saying we all ought to have skin in the game. Yeah, that's a good, powerful, love my community, and 2 hearts, right? And also because Adam said that he didn't. The captions are not clear. Oh, Young Atheist saying love the Atheist Republic community. Sweet. So let me just read this one more. Read it for you guys, like while we. So he's saying hi to Armin and all the others in Atheist Republic.
سلام به تو و همه بچه جمهوری بی خدایان. ما امروز اومدیم به چند تا
Today we came to the cemetery and now
از بچه‌ها سر بزنیم به ذرا. الان که محسن
And now we're here on Mohsen Shekari's grave, and I wanted to put
شکاری میشه مزار محسن شکاری. خواستم از طرف همه بچه‌های جمهوری بی خدایان
and put these flowers on his tombstones on behalf of all all of the Atheist Republic members, with the hope with the hope that the path they stepped
ادامه
on
داشته باشه و
still goes on, and we can
بتونیم مسیرشون رو ادامه
we can as well keep on continuing it, so we can continue their path.
بدیم. ممنون. مرسی.
So basically, the path for liberty, the path for freedom, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I have to mention that he sent me also a whole bunch of other pictures that he posted. That wasn't the only gravestone that he put flowers on for us. A lot of other fallen people that were killed during this revolution.
Civilians that were killed in the streets. Yeah, like Hamid Reza.
Yes.
Hamid Reza Ruhi, he put flowers on his grave as well.
Flowers, yeah, and he sent out the pictures to all of the other gravestones that he put flowers on to us as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's so beautiful and moving to me. And, like our community, we can like fight with each other. We have disagreements. Like we get worked up. We're a little bit crazy. Maybe we have like some internal drama, like fighting. We want to do things this way. We want to do things this way, and we are more like loud or out there than other communities. We're expressive, but this is to me what we represent at the end of the day, like so I don't know, it meant a lot to me. It was really, really special and powerful to receive that message.
Yeah, wait, do we highlight everything? Yes. Okay, cool.
Darko is saying, right, I appreciate him doing that in all of our names. Yeah.
No. Okay. I do have to go soon, but I do wanted to, before I go, to again remind everybody that we have volunteer positions if you want to join our team. Okay. And let me just read the positions that people could volunteer. And again, if you do apply and we don't respond, it's because maybe we need like people that have experience in what they're doing. Okay, so sorry if we don't respond to everybody. Okay.
Well, usually it's just a matter of time. Like we do them in batches.
Yes. But usually we just respond to the people. Like I don't really have time to respond to everybody. Okay, but respond to people, but that are good candidates. So, but right now we're looking for video editors. Video editors would be working with me. Graphic designers. I think graphic designers would be working with Susie. Grant research and writing assistant, they would be working with Susie. Team coordinator or volunteer application managers, they would be working with me. English to Persian translators, they would be working with me. Voiceover narrators would be working with me. High profile guest finder and coordinator, they would be working with me, that position. Live event speaking opportunity hunter, that would be working with Susanna. News curator and writer, that would be working with Susanna. Art team manager and payment coordinator, that's a position that would be working with Susanna. Financial coordinator and bookkeeper, that's a position that would be working with Susanna. Social media manager, that's a position that would be working with me. A Drupal web developer, that's another position that would be working with Susanna. And lastly, live stream co-host in the background, most likely, unless somebody is really good. That would be for maybe secular jihadist recording videos, or if they speak Persian, for Persian the show, that would be working with me. Again, the link to the application for volunteers is in the description and also in the live stream. So if you want to join our team as a volunteer, please consider doing so.
Yes, I'm excited. We got a couple of good applicants right now, and I'm going through getting to know people.
Yeah, and from anywhere in the world.
To say that I love reading the volunteer applications, because at the end we have the questions about like why you found Atheist Republic, like why you want to join, and I love reading those answers. It's like so meaningful to me to hear people tell me like why they love our community and why they want to contribute. So even just reading the applications brings a smile to my face.
Oh wait, wow, look at this.
Huh. Chi.
Oh, look at this. Adam is saying, one of my Muslim students came to my office and preached her religion to me for 1 hour. All I told her was that I don't think her prophet and faith is all that great. The uni sent me a warning letter.
That's
Jesus
pretty
Christ.
ballsy in Malaysia. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Be careful out there. Be careful out there. Also, GJ is reminding people to like, subscribe, and write a comment. Somebody's saying, I wish I could donate to Ferrari for Atheist Republic. This is a good reminder that you guys, if you want to support us, you don't need to support us financially. Only the people who are financially secure should even consider supporting us financially. There are so many other ways you can support us. The most simple way that you can support Atheist Republic is by liking this video right now as you're watching it. If you really want to support us beyond liking us, you can leave a comment and also subscribe. Actually, subscribing to our newsletter, that's not supporting us. That's supporting yourself. Because we have the yes. So if you want to support yourself, you can subscribe to our newsletter because we send you the most important news, but also our blasphemous art, and you also get my book for free. So if you would like to support yourself, subscribe to our newsletter. Link to it in the description. And but if you have an extra cash that you don't know what to do with and you want to support us, you could also support us financially. We have PayPal, we have Patreon, we have YouTube membership, so you could do any of those, right? Link in all of it in the description. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification because we have amazing shows and we don't want you to miss out on any of them.
Right? Yes. Thank you, everyone, for a great show. I had a lot of fun today. I was not expecting to learn certain things about what you can and cannot do to animals and what you do with that meat. But we all learned something today.
All right, guys, don't abuse animals, okay? This is not good. We don't condone this. Love you guys, and we see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.